She stood frozen on the marble steps, humiliated, confused, and filmed. Moments ago, she was inside calmly requesting $500 from her own account. Now she was being treated like a criminal. The blonde teller had whispered. Security had swarmed. A crowd gathered, unsure of what crime she'd committed besides having the wrong skin in the wrong place. Then, a black luxury car pulled up. A man stepped out, silent, sharp, unstoppable. Her husband. And what he did next would leave the entire bank scrambling. Where are you watching from? Comment on your city below. Tiana Williams had never felt out of place until that day. She was used to walking into the world with confidence. A 32-year-old marketing consultant, she'd built her life from the ground up. From early mornings at the firm to peaceful weekends at the lake house, her days were filled with quiet success. She wasn't flashy, just intentional. That morning, she stepped into the Citibank in her tailored navy suit, needing to withdraw $500 for a home renovation crew arriving later. Nothing unusual. The sun outside glinted off the glass doors as she waited in line, scrolling her phone, humming a soft tune. But behind the counter, eyes narrowed. Whispers floated between two women near the desks. She didn't notice at first. But something shifted. The warmth of routine started to chill. And in just a few minutes, Tiana would learn that money wasn't the real reason they didn't want her there. Tiana handed over her ID and debit card with a polite smile. The teller, a tall blonde woman with a pearl necklace and a cold stare, barely looked at the documents. Her eyes hovered on Tiana's face, longer than necessary. Then came the questions. What's this money for? Why not use an ATM? Can I see another form of ID? Tiana responded calmly, growing more confused with each unnecessary hurdle. The woman stepped away without a word, whispering to her manager while glancing back. A few minutes later, the bank manager approached, not to help, but to escort her away. We reserve the right to deny suspicious transactions, he said flatly. Suspicious? She asked, stunned. I'm withdrawing my own money. They didn't care. Her account, her ID, her professionalism meant wasn't enough. Not there. Not in front of them. A guard was called. Tiana was told to leave. Tiana was grown quiet. Every eye on her, judging, assuming, condemning. Outside, humiliated and furious. She sat on the steps trying to understand what had just happened. Why had her skin color made her a suspect? She wasn't just denied service, she was publicly shamed for existing. But what the bank didn't know was this. Tiana wasn't alone. Her husband, Malcolm, had just parked across the street. And while they saw a black woman they thought they could dismiss, they were about to meet a man whose presence could buy the entire block. Malcolm stepped out of his car. Armani suit pressed, silence heavy in his stride. Tiana looked up, eyes glassy but fierce. He saw her and understood it instantly. No words were needed. He walked into the bank. The same guard who had pushed Tiana out now held the door open like nothing had happened. Inside, the same blonde teller greeted him with a rehearsed smile. She didn't recognize him until he placed his black titanium business card on the counter. Owner, Megawatt Holdings. Lead investor, First United Banking Group. Her face went pale. You kicked out my wife, he said. The manager rushed forward, stammering apologies, but it was too late. In front of everyone, Malcolm made one call. Within minutes, bank shares dipped. Corporate calls came in. That bank branch, scheduled to be shut down permanently. Dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give. A like it really helps. Tiana never wanted revenge. She wanted respect. But Malcolm's actions weren't about ego. They were about justice. That day, as the sun set behind the glass facade of the now empty bank, Tiana stood taller, not because someone paid a price, but because the world saw the cost of racism. This wasn't about $500. It was about being seen, heard, and treated like a human being. The woman who dismissed her, Fired. The guard who stood silent replaced the branch. Closed for corporate. Restructuring. But the bigger change came later, when people who had watched in silence started speaking out. How many more Tianas have to be humiliated before we stop turning away? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and new videos.